If you didn't know, I myself am an aspiring author, and I've written about 2 books worth of rough drafts, and I haven't had it edited, I haven't had it seen by anybody, and I haven't taken it to a publisher. And I've been very conflicted on should I just self-publish, should I, just keep pushing and find a publisher for it. I really don't know, to be honest. One thing that recently happened, I think it was in early February, was the YouTuber Salmonella Academy did a face reveal in which he came out after, I think it was like a year or two of no news whatsoever, and he published a book. He said, I published a book, and of course I had to buy the book. So it's called Still Lost by Sam A. Miller, and overall it's really fucking solid. First off, this is like my thing. I love indie shit, so when it's like, oh, a musician on Spotify with 100 listeners, or oh shit, a book on Amazon that's self-published and has 20 reviews. Oh, and now this has way over 300 reviews or something. And it's not exactly like become a huge cultural phenomena, but it is a completely self-published, just $12 on Amazon. And it's just, I don't know, I felt like it was really accessible. And so it's kind of inspired me, like, hey, I always could just self-publish on a whim. My issue is, unlike Salmonella, I don't have followers. I don't have people who watch my shit who were delighted to see my face and who are like, oh my god, a book? What cool ideas does this guy have? Because most of my ideas are not researched like his, they are made up. I will say he did a good job of marketing the thing. I didn't even finish his video before I looked in the description to find this here. It's called Still Lost Tales from 2080. A whopping 8 rather long short stories are included, featuring such concepts as an alien prostitute, a baboon that gets cyberbullied, an old lady getting killed with a sword, and an 8-page discussion about grass. And every single one of these is in this is not clickbait at all. These are all in this, and he did a good job of not saying, like, oh, this is happening, and then I start the story, and I'm like, oh, this is happening. Like, I didn't really see, I didn't think about it until, oh, shit, this is what he was referencing in the thing, Another thing I noticed that I really liked was on the front cover, he has a little badge here, and it says, hasn't won a thing. I thought that was just another piece of Salmonella humor. This book is, if you've seen any of the guy's videos, it's really similar. You can tell it's written by him. Like, even if he didn't say this was him, somebody would have pieced it together. It has his exact tone in so much of it. And that's not a complaint, by the way. Obviously, I think the guy's somewhat funny if I bought his book on release. They're all like sci-fi, like random what-if concepts, a lot of them, and they have a lot of dark humor, but I think they're still very interesting conceptually, too. And so I'm going to go over each one and just kind of say what I thought about it. The first story is about 28 pages long, and it is the prologue. So basically, what happens is there is these species of aliens that land on Earth, and they're called Xenos. And what they do is they drop this, like, EMP device that kind of... It's not even an EMP. It doesn't shut down electricity. It kind of just, like, gains access to everything electrical and technological, basically. And the U.S. governments all across the world, but particularly the U.S. government starts freaking the fuck out. They're thinking, oh, it's another country, but every country has this in it, so they don't know who. And they're like, we need to destroy this before China gets our information and all that. So the first bunch of pages are just a compilation of, like, them attacking these EMP pillars. And the pillars cannot be harmed by no matter what. So basically, if I took a pistol and I shot the pillar would bounce the bullet back into me. And I don't know if it would shoot me in the head or if it would just shoot me in the arm or what. But basically the whole thing is just a compilation of, like, what is done unto it is done unto the person who does it. So they keep trying to make workarounds, right? They have, like, oh, this guy has a drone and he attacks it with a drone and it doesn't work, obviously. But then something happens where the guy gets fucking killed later on for trying to kill it with a drone. They have an experimental railgun capable of accelerating a 5-pound slug to Mach 28. And as a safety measure, the gun needs 3 people to push 3 buttons simultaneously in order to fire. So theoretically, right, this pillar is not going to be able to redirect that. It's not going to be able to kill these guys because there's 3 different guys who pushed it. At the end of the paragraph, it says this. After about 70 minutes, the slug completed its journey around Earth, landing in the mess hall of the Los Angeles AFB. 3 men exploded and 37 splattered witnesses received PTO. And it always ends with, the entity was unharmed. In this book, you'll notice there is a good amount of repetition of certain themes. There's one I'll go over in my favorite short story from this entire book that's much more funny than the entity was unharmed. But it's just one of the things he likes doing in this. Basically, it's just this nonchalant compilation of this, pillar throwing back everything that these people throw at it. And it just, like, it just destroys people constantly. Basically, story that kind of tells us, like, yeah, Americans are stupid and we're going to pull a gun on anything we don't understand. And honestly, that is fair and true. On page 12 here, there was a mention about Richmond, Virginia, which I found quite nice. I think overall that the prologue, it's a very interesting introduction. The test was basically, the aliens were testing our intelligence by dropping this and seeing how we react to it. And since we couldn't find it out, all we did was attack the thing. They say, okay, you're not fit to join our fucking advanced league of alien entrepreneurs. You are instead going to be basically a place that we can visit. And we're not really going to tell you much about the world because you can't handle it. So we're just going to let you exist, and we're going to visit you every so often and just kind of coexist. And there's nothing you can do about it. And that's really it. I think genuinely our current day government would do the same stupid bullshit. They would try and blow the fuck up out of the thing. So I think it's a realistic story. I don't know. Overall, I think it was a decent introduction. It's not my favorite story of the bunch. It's a needed introduction. The next story is a 35-page story called Xenos. Okay, it's a decent take on the whole life is meaningless because we'll never fully understand it idea, right? Basically, there is this scientist who goes to the alien prostitute that was mentioned in the description, and this prostitute it's a Xeno, and they have been trying to get human bodily fluids to study. So they get blood, sweat, tears, cum, all of it from being a prostitute, basically. I think that on its own is a very salmonella idea. And so anyways, the scientist goes in not to have sex with the alien, but to interview it. And the alien, they don't really like telling human shit, but the alien is like, okay, if I can get some of your spinal fluid, and they have the very precise needle, doesn't hurt them at all, just boom, that's it. If I can get some of your spinal fluid, I will give you some of my alien blood. Which is, it needs to be kept at a certain temperature, and it's so hard, like, you can't hurt these things, so nobody has access to this. This would be a scientific breaking ground, so the scientist agrees, obviously. They get this. And some crazy religious person who worships the Xenos, I'm pretty sure, or worships something of the same category of alien or whatever, sees that they have, like, basically, like, the Christ blood, and steals it from them, and so they go to this church, they have a showdown where they're, like, beefing, and the religious person didn't know that the blood needed to be stored a certain way, so the blood is ruined, basically. This story does a really good job of comparing how making observations with science and making observations with religion are similar, because neither are ever going to be completely true unless we believe it is. No matter how much we study about Earth, right, we're never going to fully understand how the universe works, especially what with space and all that nonsense. And so religion is an easy way to believe. I believe this is what this is, versus science, which is I'm studying this and I believe this is what it is. So it does a good job of comparing atheism to religion, and kind of, how the belief of I know everything is foolish no matter how you think you know everything. The next story is a 30-page one called Being a Nothingness. And Being a Nothingness was very interesting because it was very... It's basically about this nihilist, this guy who he doesn't go outside, he just looks at these Reddit threads all day, he hates everybody, he hates his neighbor because his neighbor is super normal, and I just remember there's a phrase, I notice he's carrying skis in August, get fucked. So the guy just hates his neighbor, I guess. His neighbor's, I mean, he sounds like one of those, those guys who are like too nice, but at the same time, how are you going to be mad at that? It's a sardonic, it's a pessimistic overinterpretation of life, basically. He has trash bags, like, blocking his windows, right? It's that kind of guy. And so he takes a shit ton of drugs and talks to his own, like, horrible self. He goes to this place where they're like, you can split your brain and talk to him. And he, like, talks to himself, the part of him that's like a Gollum from Lord of the Rings. And as well as he also, like, talks to a piece of his brainstem that he, like, catapults away and fucking launches. It was kind of weird. But his resolution to this entire story is just to bully the fuck out of his fears and his hatred so much that he enjoys living again. And so by the end of the story, he's, like, walking outside, he talks to somebody on the bus or something, he like, talks to his neighbor and tries to be nicer. He's actively making steps to go in the right direction, to learn how to socialize, to learn how to be a decent person, and he really just, like, bullied himself into not being a pessimist, which I find really funny. I think it's a very solid take on stress and negativity being the things that will kill your love for life. It's not an actual occurrence that's taking joy away from you a lot of the time, right? It's sort of just your mindset on things. So then again, I thought this was a really good story. I haven't done a point system yet. I don't think I'm going to do a point system because I don't really have these tier listed or ranked, to be honest. I don't think any of these would be... I don't know if any of these would even be a C, to be honest, on a tier list. I think I liked pretty much all of them for different reasons. I think they all have different standout philosophies behind them. And so, overall, I'd give this book, for a debut novel, I'd give it an A out of debut novels. I think overall, all novels, it's maybe high B. Now, I actually, personally, I'm not afraid. I'll give it an A. I quite liked it. There was no point in this book where I was reading it and I was like, oh, fuck, we're bored. I'm like this and this and this. You know, I think it's just a good book. If you thought that was glazing, get ready for this. This next chapter, or short story, is called Eggs for Roman. And it's 40 pages, and it is my favorite short story. If you have to read any short story out of this book, read Eggs for Roman. It is like Sam O'Nella made a hypothetical YouTube video with a little story for like a half hour. It is just funny as fuck, okay? So off the bat, I recognize that it is a title, or at least a parody. I'm 99% sure it's a parody of Flowers for Algernon. If you haven't read Flowers for Algernon, beautiful, sad book about this mouse that is given more intelligence by scientists. And so they're like, let's do it on humans, and this dumb guy gets the ability to be smart, and he's very happy that he's smart, and he sees the mouse slowly become dumber, and he realizes that his own intelligence, too, is fleeting. And so there's a lot of, heavy discussion in that book, and it's a very good book. Eggs for Roman is about a gorilla in an exhibit that is given some sort of, I can't remember if it's a drug or pill or operation or what, to basically enhance his intelligence and become that of, like, the average human. At first, the story reminds me of that one, like, monkey meme from, like, 6 years ago that's like, ride wife, life good, get mad, kill wife, sad, or whatever, you know? So it starts out here, right? It starts out here with, wake, morning, cold outside, sun is bright, sagebrush smells, another day. Tall bald brings food, mostly pellets, some nuts, some leaves, few fruit, grab mango, sit near fence. And so, you know, it's a very simple, like, monkey thoughts. Like, this is what gorilla thinks. And every time the thing ends, right, it ends with this, fuck harem, okay? Now, this sounds stupid as shit to point out, but think about it. Fuck harem. That's the last thing he does. And then it goes to the next day. Wake, morning, cold outside, blah, 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 another day. And he goes on again. And this day, tall, bald has food, and he notices, like, just one extra thing. Okay, and it kind of is what it is. Next day, he wakes up again. They bring him an egg. He learns, oh shit, wait, this egg is like a rock, but it's soft on the inside, and the inside is tasty. And I quite like the egg. And then again, it ends with fuck harem. This next chapter starts up with, I wake up in the morning. It's cold outside, right? So we're already advancing in language here. So basically, you can kind of tell where I'm going with this. I'll stop it. But it slowly, the gorilla has more enunciation with his words. He has more of a personality. He has more words that he knows. And so they basically introduce the gorilla. He learns the name of his zookeeper that he likes. He gets a phone. They give the gorilla a phone. At first, it starts with, like, he just has the ability to make a soundboard, so he has words that he knows, and he learns egg is for egg and shit like that, you know. And he wrote out the sentence here, talk me, you talk, word give, you me, word talk thing, you mouth thing, me, you word talk, give you me, which is a pretty, that's a reference, obviously, to that one YouTube video.
Nim's longest recorded sentence was, give orange, me give eat, orange, me eat, orange, give me eat, orange, give me you.
It continues with the language becoming more complex. I really like how well written this part of the story is by slowly revealing more and more that the monkey whose name is Habibi, you know, more and more, he knows more and more. He learns things like how the details in a human face and how to understand emotions. He begins to understand time. He predicts his progress report days, right? He starts becoming addicted to his phone after realizing that he has unlimited access. He can watch so many things and learn so much from it. He's seeing different places, he's watching shows and shit. One thing, even though he gets more smart, it ends with, I fuck my harem. You know, so, like, he still continues to fuck his harem at the end of every chapter. Again, I fuck my harem. Again, I fuck my harem. Basically, the straw that breaks the camel's back is, so our guy Habibi here, he has a board that does progress reports to see how he's getting smarter. He's getting some online fame for being a monkey that can talk, basically. He's getting online fame for that, and so they're getting popularity, and they want to make him basically a brand, a mascot. And so they decide eventually, by the board, that he is now too human to have sex with monkeys because it's a consensual gray area. He is as smart as a human, but, you know, he's having sex with animals. And even though he is an animal within the intelligence of a human, it's a very, you know, it's a gray area, consensual gray area. Obviously, he doesn't like being told that he has to remain celibate. Habibi then changes his name to Roman after, like, more self-actualizing. But the board doesn't want him to have too much control over the content he views and the things in his life that he wants to do. So they try and take his phone away. He fights back, and they, like, clip his teeth, I'm pretty sure. They clip his fucking canines or something because he, like, growled or something. Anyhow, so he gets put in this, like, jail cell for a minute, and they, like, actually torture him until he agrees that he'll be a good mascot and get along with it. Anyways, they basically are having him do streaming again. I think that the reason that what he did was he got mad. He said, like, I am Roman, I am my own guy, and then he, like, fucks his harem live on the video, on stream. And so basically, he comes back and he's just doing boring shit for the brand, you know, and he's getting, like, cyberbullied. They're saying, like, oh, this monkey's stupid, bring back Roman, he was cool. This monkey's an idiot. Like, just trolls on the internet, like a Twitch chat. Eventually, he comes up with the idea, he's like, I want to paint my nails on stream. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's paint your nails on stream. And he wants to paint them black, right? Okay, cool. So he does the nail painting stream, and he uses the nail polish to make this, like, stick that he has that looks like a gun. And he paints it black, and he makes it look like a gun. And he uses the file, the nail file, to break the chains that keep him captive, basically, like the fence that fences him in. And so after beating the shit out of the board members, he steals a plane that belongs to some influencer that was trying to do an influence, was trying to do a video on him. Basically, the sheriff or whoever, the owner of the zoo, not the nice zookeeper who helped him get out, but the owner, like the evil guy is like, I know that's not a real gun. Get back in your cage. But it is Roman and, like, 9 women gorillas. His whole harem is with him. And they just genuinely murk the fuck out of this guy and get on this plane. And Roman kind of knows how to use this plane. So they kind of fly away to this spot in Thailand where monkeys are worshipped. And the story ends with a twist of how earlier parts often ended. At 3,000 feet, I fuck my harem. I mean, it's just a beautiful ending to such a, like, goddamn silly story, and my description does not do it justice. You should really read this story. I mean, it's my favorite story in the whole book. It's just, like, I'm just glazing the shit out of it. I think it's really funny, and I would watch this shit if it was a short film. I would read it again. Honestly, I will read that story again. I don't know how soon I'll read, like, the others out of this book again. I honestly have been getting cravings to just reread that one story. The next story is called 4 Little Words. It's the shortest one, I'm pretty sure. It's only 10 pages. Basically, a bunch of academics in different fields come together, and they read this study by this botanist that claims grass can feel pain. And more so, the amount of pain that mowing 1 acre of grass equates to is having the top of your forearm tattooed for 11 months straight, the peak intensity of a yellow jacket sting for 83 days, or 12 full acts of natural childbirth from amniotic rupture to delivery. Obviously, one of the professors, he used to be like a landscaper or something, and he pukes. You know, there's a whole conversation about, like, the pain that they're putting out into the world by the fact that grass can feel pain. How much pain has been put out into this world? Basically, the botanist is very excited to publish this study and tell the entire world about it, right? And it ends with, without missing a beat, the professor of ethics and moral philosophy stood up, drew a pistol from his waistband, and opened fire, dumping the entire magazine into the botanist's head and chest. It's a really quick resolution to a story that, like, honestly, it was the 8-page discussion about grass, and it didn't feel, I thought that shit was going to be boring. It really wasn't boring. It was over really quickly. It's just one of those short stories that, like, I think about it from time to time. I'm like, yeah, what if grass can feel pain? You know? And honestly, it's not revolutionary. It's just kind of a funny one. It's got a good punchline, which is this whole setup, and it's like, actually, I did publish these findings. Bam, 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 bam. And that's, like, we can't let anybody ever know, you know? It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. The next one is called Bloodstreams, and it's very nothing burger on purpose. It is actually quite funny, so it's not a nothing burger when you're reading it. The MC is a professional killer who kills these people that are deemed unjustifiable by the lower middle class. So it starts with like some HOA fascist and a math teacher or something. The HOA fascist, she, amid growing water costs, she like wanted people to have their lawns be completely, you know, beautiful, and this guy couldn't afford to water his lawn, so he basically pays money to turn his lawn into a desert, like an actual desert with rocks and shit, like on purpose. And then he gets fined and sued for money he can't afford. And so this killer is basically hired. This killer looks at, like, they have a version of X or Twitter called Alpha, and then they have like a version that's more like 4chan called Omega, and Omega is basically like, oh, anybody can say anything and do anything and whatever. And this guy just looks at Omega all day, and oh, this guy's horrible. And he has a profile. It's all anonymous, but it is an anonymous profile that people follow. And so they watch like his jobs that he takes on in these killings. The whole first part is he just sneaks into this woman's house. She's like in the shower or something. He sneaks past. He puts her cat in a cage. He then like sticks her with a needle or something that knocks her out, or I forget what it is. And then he like chains her up, and he, with a katana, no, it's not a katana, it's a claymore, I'm pretty sure. With a claymore, he just slices her fucking head off right then and there. He takes her head and he puts it in like the litter box and puts a little like martini umbrella next to it to kind of simulate like, oh, she's in the desert. As like an ironic thing, he takes a picture of it. He posts it on the internet to say like, this is why you don't do this or whatnot. You know, not a very redeemable character, even if the HOA person is in the wrong, like, obviously. But, you know, he just like straight up fucking marks her. He takes her cat though to somebody to drop it off to a new owner, basically, who'll take care of the cat. And then he's just coasting down the highway. He's listening to his music. The police almost see him, and then they don't, and that's really the end of that. His next job is this math teacher who is so anti-6'7" that he fails one of his kids for it, basically. And the guy doesn't get caught until the end when he's at this house, and this other vigilante killer who, like, he kills vigilantes, and he's like a Twitch streamer. So he has, like, a GoPro, basically, as he's, like, Twitch streaming, but he has, like, Doc Ock limbs that he attacks him with. And so they have, like, he gets cornered at this fake job, basically, and they have, like, a fight, and you don't know how it's gonna go, and the MC just fucking kills this guy, basically. He basically wins the fight, and he knocks the guy out, and he programs the Doc Ock limbs to be in accordance with where the Twitch chat tells him to go, and when he wakes up, the Twitch chat goes loose, and they just all fucking stab him non-stop because it's a Twitch chat, and they just want to see him dead. It's brutal. The POV is set in a very, like, anti-intellectual mindset. There's actually a quote I really fucking liked. This part happens right after he posts a picture of the killing of the HOA lady. So it says here, the masses were largely supportive, though, per usual, a few killjoys felt the need to chime in. One particular stream of invective caught my eye. Vigilantism is a scourge on this country. You're not upholding rule of law, you are actively eroding it. The fact that anyone glorifies your heinous actions makes me sick to my stomach. You are a murderer, do you understand? The lowest scum imaginable. I sincerely hope that someday all the suffering you've caused comes back to you tenfold. Death would be too kind a punishment. Calmly, I placed my phone down in the cup holder and used my free hand to loosen my belt. With one eye on the road, I shimmied my pants off, picked the phone back up, aimed it straight down, and took a picture of my loose ball sack splayed out on the leather seat. After swapping some of the wrinkles around in Photo Tool, you never know, I added a tasteful vintage filter and sent the image as a reply without further caption. I'm not sure where he got the impression that I claimed some larger moral high ground, but hopefully this clarified the matter. It has never been illegal to be a dickhead, nor should it be. That sort of gives you the philosophy on this one. He kind of talks later on in the story notes in the back, sort of like an author note, but about each one. About how, for this specific story, he wanted to just do away with all of the writing conventions he knew. So he made a character who wasn't likable, wasn't redeemable, didn't go through an arc, right? He made a plot that wasn't really, nothing really happened, nothing changed by the end of it. So he's really just challenging, like, what it means to write good fictions by any means. And to be honest, I think that in the form of a short story, that works. I wouldn't want to read a whole book where somebody got rid of all of the fucking conventions that we have, because they're kind of in place for a reason. A lot of this shit matters. You want your characters to have an arc in a story, but for a short story like this where the whole thing is satire and it's mainly just made to, like, be a silly thing, it's fine. It's a good story. The second to last is called The Prophet. This was one of my favorite, actually. I did not go into this expecting it to be my favorite, but it gave me Mr. Robot vibes. Basically, this guy who is like he's not a CEO, but he's like one of the top guys at this kind of cybersecurity firm. He gets this. It's been a minute since I've read this one, and I didn't take many notes on it, so give me a break when I explain it. I'll probably get something wrong. But he gets threats from this guy who gives him a prophecy, basically, and it turns out this guy has like a bunch of little robot mosquitoes that can go around and inject people with liquids and shit. And, they're kind of like, they can be little assassin bots, and I think this guy is trying to put them in the military or something. But either way, the cybersecurity guy, his dog gets killed. They wanted to basically give his dog a little bit of this poison that would, like, just kind of hurt the dog to fulfill this guy's prophecy. But they accidentally gave the dog too much and killed this guy's dog. And so in true John Wick fashion, this guy, he gets his comeback. They try and assassinate him in his office, but he has these big-ass magnets that he, like, takes him with, and then he, like, gets this guy, and he hacks it, and he sends this thing, and he hacks the rest of them, and then this prophecy guy, he sicks all of these little robot mosquitoes onto this prophet, sucks all of the blood out of his body, and sprays it all across the room as a "don't fuck with me" motto. And it's honestly, it's a really good one. It's satisfying. It's short. It goes a little in depth on coding and hacking and shit, and I really have no clue if he's spitting it out of his ass or if this is completely accurate, like hacking coding information, because I really have no idea about anything when it comes to computer science. So overall, it was just a really good one. I didn't have as much to say about it as Eggs for Roman, because it's not as funny. I think it's probably the most serious out of these stories. At least it tries to take itself the most serious, and all the little robot mosquitoes is silly. It's still, like, it's just a very solid one. It gives me some, like, a bit of American Psycho vibes with The Office, but I think I get a lot more Mr. Robot vibes from The Office and the coding and hacking and all that shit. It's just very cool. And then there's the last one. It's called Beat. Beat is about addiction. And one of the things that Salmonella talked about, I think in his YouTube video with his face review, but also at the end of this book, is that he had some sort of addiction, I assume to drugs or something, that he has kicked. And he's doing better now, and he got help from his friends and family. He doesn't really go too into depth about it, but he's doing good, which is good. I'm glad to hear that he's doing good and that he kicked his addiction. And so Beat is about addiction to music. He comes up with this thing that's basically like a headphones thing that you clasp it onto your head, and it plays beats that it, like, scans your brain, and it plays music that makes you feel a certain way. And the main character's really into rage. He's really into this sound called Rage, which makes him, like, fucking angry. And, for a half hour after he listens to the song, he wants to swing on somebody, It just makes him a little crazy. And there's also, like, contemplative ones. There's happy. But he starts to develop a resistance to these. And so his hair starts falling out around the nodes that he puts on his head. He starts doing it so often. And so he goes to this black marketplace where this guy can make, like, custom music for these that is, like, way better by taking a complete brain scan and whatnot. So as he gets his brain scanned, you can see there's some formatting shit. This has the most different formatting in this chapter, but it's mostly just because of certain parts where he has a lot of enunciations on sounds. Anyways, he gets addicted to this ultra music, and he goes bald from all the shit. He gets so addicted to it, he gets kicked out of his mom's house because he almost hit her when he was in a rage one time. His best friend fucking dies, I'm pretty sure, to this. Like, he just overdosed or some shit on the music. He gets so into it that he can't do anything but listen to it. He can't get a job. He's living out of his car. He's so fucked up. And so his car's almost out of juice. His car's almost out of fuel, which he's been charging his headsets on. His headsets are out of fuel. He tries to basically do what his best friend does and kill himself with the music and just overdose on it. And he almost does, and then it runs out of battery, and he can't, and he's freaking the fuck out. And he calls his mom, and he's like, "Mom, like, I know you said you can call, like, I can call you if I ever need help. I'm here, and I need help." And he climbs onto the hood of his car. And this is the first time we get a lot of description of, like, the area around him for the first time in a while, not just, like, his perspective on exactly him. And he climbs onto the hood of his car. I always assumed he was, like, at the bottom of a bank, near like one of those big storm drain areas, looking over maybe a lake or something. And he's like on the hood of his car, and he's just like fucking twitching, shivering. He's so, you know, withdrawn from this already. And all of a sudden he just hears these noises. It's a whole page of frog noises. And he hears the way that the frogs are chirping to each other and rhythm and shit. And he starts to like chill the fuck out, and he realizes like that he'll be okay and he'll get through it. And I think the ending paragraph that's just separated with a line break from the rest of it was sort of Salmonella's kind of take on addiction, maybe for himself. Obviously, I don't want to accuse him of saying this is him, obviously. But, you know, a lot of people write from their own perspective here. It just reads, some people choose life with their chin up and their hands on their hips. Others do it curled up on the hood of a sedan, whimpering at frogs, sorry. A few do it because they see a better way. Most do it because they don't. There was no triumph, no revelation, and certainly no dignity that night. Those things aren't so easily earned. Really, I was more lost than ever, and with no other leads, I could only pick a direction and walk straight. It's something he did earlier in the black market, I forgot to mention, is like a liminal space. He has to walk straight to get out of it. You know, I think that that's a pretty powerful last message there in this book. Overall, I'm a big fan of this book. I think it's a great debut novel. I really hope he makes more. I don't care if it's sci-fi short stories, if it's fantasy, if it's history. I'm not as big on nonfiction out of anything, but even if it's nonfiction written in the Salmonella style, I will probably be into that because it's the Salmonella style. I mean, all of his YouTube videos are at least moderately entertaining, right? So I think as far as debut novels go, this is fucking good. It's really powerful. It inspires me as somebody who wants to publish you know, my own novels one day. I haven't done a thing. I'm just a niche little indie author. I'm also like a 20-year-old, you know, I have plenty of time to figure it out, but it's still inspiring to see somebody who wants to write a book, publish it, and be successful. I mean, this has 366 reviews on Amazon right now, and it has a 4.9 overall. It has a 4.4 on Goodreads with 240 ratings, and I mean, that's a really good review on Goodreads. A lot of, like, a debut novel, I expected this to be like a 3.8 on Goodreads, to be honest, because Goodreads, you know, but maybe it's just because it's not big, or maybe I think this is something this is more subject to be reviewed by his fans. This isn't something that a lot of people are going to see at I don't know if it's even at a Barnes & Noble. You know, I don't know if he has physical bookstores selling it. I feel like this is one that you're going to find if you're more into him. But me personally, I highly recommend it. If you like sci-fi concept short stories, and I didn't spoil too much of any of them, I'd give it a try. It's only like 260 pages or something. It's really not a heavy or a long read. And it's pretty good. It's pretty nice. I think Salmonella he was always a good writer because when he wrote scripts for his YouTube videos, they worked. They were funny. They flowed. I'm not really about that yet. I'm kind of just a rambler at the minute, and we'll see how I do with that later. But I think writing really is his forte, so he should keep it up. I really think that he has something here. I mean, honestly, he always had the blood of an author in him, and this really, it kind of proves it. This is staying on my shelf. This will not be going on Facebook Marketplace. So yeah, overall, good job. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. If you've made it this far into the video, I'm going to ask a question. Do you guys care if I do like book reviews and talk about writing shit? Because I know I like to talk about funny things a lot and shit that doesn't matter, but I am genuinely very passionate about writing and books. So whether it's more book reviews or if I ramble on about my own writing, which it's going to be hard to find a starting point there, but you know, I could totally do it. Would you guys be interested in watching that? I've gone down the idea of making a separate YouTube channel just for writing shit particularly, but my one issue is if I put a channel under my full name, it's going to be findable by job applications, and I don't know if they're going to be able to link that to this and see the shit that I say on here sometimes. So having my face here is already enough. I feel like I won't make a new separate YouTube channel yet because that just seems like a lot of work, and then this one could die and it's like, oh, all my subs that I just got are gone. It's a whole thing. I don't know how this shit really works, to be honest. So anyways, drop your opinion about that in the chat, and thank you for watching. As always, I'm trying to think of a sarcastic comment to say at the end, but I don't know. Actually, I'll end it with my favorite quote from this story. I fuck my harem.